Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do another Red Dawn Militia video. And for those of you that are new to the channel, I've done a video series where I look at the 1980s movie Red Dawn, which is about an alternate reality where the Soviets and the Cubans invade the United States and they're occupying half of it. And we have a bunch of teenagers that are in the occupied territory that form a militia to fight the Soviets. Okay, so I've been looking at realistic militia tactics that would work in that scenario, and I'm going to include a playlist in the comment section. So in case you missed some of those older videos, you can go check them out. So in those other videos, I've talked about militia tactics like L ambush, V ambush. I've talked about how to move militia movements, through the woods. I've talked about militia tactics in urban areas. So in this video, we're going to talk about the Red Dawn prolonged occupation. So the situation is that the war is not going well for us. We have not been successful in dislodging the Soviets from American occupied territory. And what's worse is that we're seeing a situation now where the Soviets are starting to get very comfortable, and Americans in the occupied territory are also starting to get really comfortable. And that's really bad, because if Americans are really comfortable with the Soviet occupation, they're not going to want to fight to kick them out. We're going to see a situation like we saw during the German occupation of France, where you had a lot of businessmen that were forming business relationships with the Germans, and we also saw, for example, a lot of women that were forming personal relationships with the with the German soldiers and officers. So in a situation like that, where Americans are comfortable with the Soviet occupiers, that's not a situation where they're going to want to be willing to fight them, kill them, and make life so miserable for the Soviets that they might want to consider leaving. Okay, that's not going to happen if the Americans are comfortable. So we need to change this situation. So our attack strategy is going to change. In the past, we talked about using different methods to attack the Soviet units, right? We talked about like using an L ambush to isolate small units and attack them. But the goal there was basically to demoralize them, to reduce their numbers, to get them to want to leave. We're going to change our strategy now so that we are attacking the Soviets near civilian areas. Okay. Why are we doing that? Okay. Well, what we need to do is we need to get the Soviets really uncomfortable with the American population, and we need to get them to not trust the American population. Okay. Because again, we're trying to break up this comfort level that these two have between the two of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack the Soviets in areas like markets, where the Soviets might be going to buy things, right? We're going to attack them possibly like in town hall meetings where the Soviets might be interacting with local leaders. Okay, and we're going to attack them in transportation areas like trains or airports, possibly, where again you got both Soviets and American civilians, basically using airplanes and trains, to get to different places. Okay, so we're going to attack the Soviets. Why are we doing that? Well, again, like I said, we're trying to get the Soviets not trusting Americans. We want them to look at every American as a potential insurgent. Okay. And to accomplish this, what we're going to do is we're going to blend in with the civilian population as much as possible. We're not going to be wearing camouflage. Okay, we're not going to be looking like combatants. We're going to wear basically either work clothes, or we're going to wear like casual clothes. And first of all, that will allow us to enter the area and leave the area with less chance of being identified as a militia fighter. Okay. So that's the first thing that it allows, because basically once we attack the Soviets, people are going to start running in different directions, to get away from the scene, and we're just gonna get in with the crowd and get out of the area that way. So that's the first thing. It'll allow us to get in the area and out of the area. But what's also going to happen is that the Soviets, at some point, are going to probably start shooting back. Okay, and there's a good chance that they're going to shoot at the wrong people. Okay, and they're going to shoot at innocent people that are there that had nothing to do with the situation, and that's extremely unfortunate, right? But again, it's creating a situation where now our people, right, our Americans, are going to start getting really uncomfortable with the Soviets shooting at them, because what's going to happen is the family members of these people that are, these Americans that are killed or injured, are now going to want revenge. Okay, so this is a way of also, in addition to keeping the hate alive between the Soviets and Americans, right? It's also a way to recruit more people to our cause. Okay, I mean, it's drastic, but again, if we don't get these two sides fighting each other, right? If we don't, there is absolutely no chance, as far as I can tell, that we would ever dislodge the Soviets from American territory. Okay, so we need to get Americans hating Soviets, and if the Soviets shoot the wrong people, right, by mistake, I mean that's one way that other Americans are going to start hating the Soviets, rather than wanting to do business with them. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to add here is utilities, food, and fuels. Those are also areas that we would want to attack. Why are we doing that? Well, here's the thing: if our fellow Americans are comfortable, right, if they're going home every evening and they are putting on the lights and watching television, and they're comfortable in their homes, they're not going to want to fight the Soviets, to remove them from American land. Okay, so that's not going to happen. So if you knock out the electricity, that's gonna start making them really uncomfortable. And then if you cut off the fuel and the food supplies, well, especially if you cut off the food supply, or in the wintertime if you cut off the heating oil, right? If you attack the places where oil might be, because a lot of people depend on oil for heating. Well, what are these people going to do? Well, they're going to go to the Soviets, right? Because they're the overlords, right? They're the ones that are in charge now. They're going to go to the Soviets and demand food from them, okay, or heating oil. And what are the Soviets going to see? They're going to see a mob of Americans approaching them. And what are the Soviets likely to do? They're likely to start shooting at them. Now, again, this is an unfortunate situation, but somehow we need to get our fellow Americans, okay, uncomfortable with this, with the Soviet occupation. Okay, so that is one possible solution. Now, there might be other ways. I have not thought of any. If you guys do have any, please put it in the comment section. I would love to hear your ideas. But as far as I can tell, as far as I can, using all the knowledge that I have of historical combat, right? Because basically, where am I getting all these ideas? I'm getting all these ideas from looking at prior conflicts around the world, historically. If the Soviet Union is occupying the United States, right, and the Americans are comfortable with that occupation, okay, we need to somehow break that comfort level. And to do that, we need to get the Soviets, right? The goal here is to get the Soviets back to hating Americans, and we need to get the Americans back to hating the Soviets. And that's the only way they're going to want to fight each other. Because if they don't hate each other enough to kill each other, then they're going to want to live together. And if they're willing to live together, then that's going to be the new norm. Okay, we're going to have a situation where basically half the United States is now USSR. Okay, it's now Soviet Union. So if you guys have any other ideas, please put it in the comment section. I'm always open to new ideas. And again, this is a hypothetical discussion. You guys may have some completely different idea that perhaps I haven't considered. So this goes both ways. I'm giving you guys some ideas. Maybe you guys will give me some ideas. For this type of a situation. So yeah, definitely put in the comment section. If you're not a member of the channel, please subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.